Jai Hind everyone, welcome again to the Patriotic IAS. This is our IAS PCSwala Daily Current Affairs. Today it is the 19th of the April and we have 5 topics that we are going to discuss in a very holistic manner. There will be the minute topic that will be interrelated and subcategory of these major topics. So we will start with the first news, that is it is impossible to tamper with the EVM at any stage. This is the news from the Election Commission that is giving its argument to the Supreme Court, where the hearing is going on. And also today it is the first phase of the 18th Lok Sabha election that is going on. That's why this is very important days as well. So we will study all this thing from the front page, and this is very important for the mains, because we will have a lot of point to write that what are the security provision we take with respect to the election, because this gives the real point that is going to be implemented and being applied onto the ground. So this will be for the GS paper 2 and election topic, and mainly it will be analyzed for the mains perspective. Then we will study that the recent news that the sugar content into the Nestle baby product that is very high into the India, Africa and Latin America. Latin America means South American countries that are considered as the underdeveloped or the developing countries. Okay, so it will be with respect to the governance perspective as well as the international relations perspective. Governance perspective, because it is the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, that is the regulatory bodies to set standard for the food product. So we will see that how there is the discrimination, the double standard of these European countries, those countries from the developed countries, they consider us as the poor, and yes, they are selling just by the fooling us. So it is not just the Patanjali, that even these companies are also fooling us. This is the thing that we will study under the mains perspective GS paper 2. Then we will study that a word in disarray, a concern about the future. Here we will study that the world that is facing the situation such as the war into the Ukraine and this Hamas war by the Israel, the attack on the Hamas, all this is, there is no solution that is visible into the current scenario, and this is giving a very grim picture into the future. So this will be discussed with respect to the world order and the changing world order, the weak situation at the international level, as well as there is the lack of the enforcement agencies or the power or the leader that can bring the peace and the common, all these concerned and the leaders from the across the world, those who are involved in this challenge on a common table. That is the missing that we will discuss under this. Again, it will be the mains perspective and for the GS paper 2 international relation. Okay. Then we will study the war of attrition. This is with respect to the Naxalite movement and the Naxalism. There has been the attack on the security forces, and security forces attacked onto the Naxalite, and there were the 29 Naxalite that has been killed, and this has been the largest into the last 5-6 years. So this has become very important. We will see that how the Naxalism is perpetuating, and still we have reduced them to the sum of the pocket, but yes, still the issue is there, and we will see that the relevance of the soft power and the hard power, and how we need to extend and expand the welfare measure of the state, that is the solution. So again, it will be for the mains perspective, GS paper 3 internal security. Then in the last, this is very important article, this is with respect to the India's changing approach into the South China Sea, and particularly against the China, the way we are confronting the China, the way we have taken the stand with the many of the nations that belong from the Southeast Asia, like the Philippines and Vietnam. So this is very important. Here we will write a mains answer. So we will practice to write a answer for the mains, and this will be very holistic. Again, this will be for the mains analysis. Let's start with the front page. The front page, it's talk about the India's vote from the today, 10 seats into the contestation, and many of the important seats like the Nitin Gadkari, that is going to he is going to face the contestation. Okay, so here you will see that 10 Lok Sabha seat, that is that the poll will be held tomorrow or today. Now the election has been started. The voting process has been started from in the morning 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. and it will go till the 6 a.m. So this is the around the time. Many a time this time is extended from the 6 p.m. Okay, beyond as per the demand, as per the if there is the more voter, so we extend the timing for the few hours. Okay, so here you should know that near about how many candidates they are going to appear in this phase 160 1625. The surprising thing is that out of 1625, only 134 women are there. So this gives a justification for the women reservation bill. Okay, so this is very practical example. This is very recent example. Even at this particular time, this is the situation. 1/10, less than 1/10. If you will multiply by the 10, it will be the 1340, and this is lesser than the 1419 one. Okay, so this is the main, this is the women that show that what is the situation. Most of the election, they are going to be held into the Tamil Nadu, 39 seats, and different seats across the state has been given here. Okay, and this phase also the election will be held into the some of the sensitive areas such as the Naxalite hit Chhattisgarh as well as the Manipur. So here all this has been given. What is the main issue that is raised by the ruling government, the BJP, that is the Viksit Bharat? They are trying to project a 10 years of the good governance, they are projecting the development. And on the contrary, the opposition under the India bloc, they are raising the issue of the unemployment, inflation, misuse of the central forces such as the ED, CBI, CAG, okay. And it is also raising the issue of the threat to the democracy and the secularism and secular fabric of the India. So all these are the area that that has been the discussion point. Here it's so that this so that how the election commission have to manage the thing. You can see and you can give you can add all this in your point whenever the question comes that the way election commission try to uphold the democratic tendency electoral system into the India. These are the very much proof. Okay, election commission now it is about to 187 lakh of the polling station that is being prepared, and now at 41 helicopter, 84 special trains, and near about 1 lakh vehicle have been deployed so that they can ensure that the security personnel they are faring in a smooth manner and that there could be the no security issue. Okay, the other point for the prelims is that you should know that the members of the Election Commission of India, Rajiv Kumar, he is the Chief Election Commissioner, then it is the Gyanesh Kumar, and then it is the Sukhbir Singh Sandhu, that they are the Election Commissioner. Okay, so please remember this for the your prelims point of view. The to make it more transparent, the webcasting of near about the 50% of the polling station that is being done. This is the one edition you should know, and you should bring that whenever whenever there is the question for the questioning the credential of the election commission and electoral process India. This is very good example. 50% of the station is being webcasting. Okay, and near about 4,627 flying squad, 5,200 statistic surveillance team, and 228 video surveillance team they are working. Okay, 1,255 video viewing team, they are all engaged. Why? To ensure that there is no manhandling or the countermanding, anything, something like that. Okay, so this is the here. You have a proof that how the government, how the Election Commission of India ensures all this thing, not the government, it is the Election Commission of India. Okay. Here you should know that what is the action taken on the border post at the district level, state level, even at the international levels. That is given. So this is all about from this news article. This is very important. A lot of information you get. Again, the continuity. The Election Commission, with respect to the EVM system and the electoral process, there is the petition that is filed into the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is hearing. There is the demand from the petitioner that please revert back to the ballot system or ensure that there is the fair level playing field and the right of voter for the transparency into the voting process. They are talking about the 100%, either you count 100% of the VVPAT or you should go back to the ballot system. So the Supreme Court is not happy with this, and even the judge chided the main petitioner, the Association for the Democratic Reform, and said that we cannot go back to the ballot system. Okay, and it was not good to be over suspicious about the everything. The judge said to the lawyer that there is the limit for the suspicion. You cannot suspicious about the everything. We already is matching the VVPAT. We can increase the numbers, but not for the 100%. This is now in the each of the assembly constituency near about the 5 polling station, where for that polling station that are randomly selected and VVPAT is verified with the AVM voting. Okay, and here the election commission said that near about we have cross-checked about 5 randomly selected polling station booth, and it is near about the 41,629 instances, and in this 4 crore of the VVPAT has been verified, and not a single time there has been the error. Okay. So here the election commission is also giving the point that it is very much time consuming to verify the VVPAT, and that's why it is not possible. Okay. So here this is all about final verdict is still there, but there is the claim from the election commission that everything is fine, that we will see what the Supreme Court is coming with the final judgment. Next important news with respect to this figure is showing that there is the volcano, and the volcano is into the Indonesia. So the name of this volcano is the Mount Ruang. So please remember that this is the Indonesia, and recently this is the active volcano. So you should know different type of the volcano, like the inactive volcano, dormant volcano, and the active volcano. So the 3 types of this. And beside that, you will study that the different type of the volcano with respect to the lava that comes out and the shape they form. Okay, so you will study all this thing into your geography session. Here we will not go for the detail of all this thing. You can refer the NCERT if you want detailed information about this volcano. Already there is in the class 11 physical geography, all that has been explained in a very beautiful manner. Okay. The next news that we are going to cover is the sugar content high into the Nestle baby food sold into the India, not into the India, but even into the Latin America, Africa. Okay. So it has been found that the quantity is very high. What is they are referring for the no sugar add product into the, for example, Cerelac. I used to eat the Cerelac as well. I very much like this Cerelac. Now I am suspicious about my health. Okay, and that's why it was very tasty, because they were using the sugar content, and the sugar content, the quantity of sugar content that's vary from the nation to nation. For European nation, they use no sugar content. For the India, it is 2.6 gram. And for the Africa, it is the 6 gram. Okay, so this is the discrimination. This is the, okay, for the Ethiopia and Thailand, the product had nearly 6 gram of the added sugar product. So whenever you go for the Cerelac, you should be cautious that why this is that much. You should know that who is the authority that will investigate all this thing. It is the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, and it is under the Act of the 2006 that all the regulatory power is with this. So they will test that what is going on, whether this is healthy or not. They will come with the final report. So this is all about from this news article. In this area, a concern about the future. Here it is written by the M.K. Narayanan, and he was the former director of Intelligence Bureau and also the National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister of India. Okay. And he was governor of the West Bengal. This is the introduction of the writer. The thing is that he's talking about the situation across the world is not futuristic. A lot of war is going on. For example, the war into the Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine, the Israeli attack on the Gaza. There is a lot of civil war that is going on into the Africa. The main concern is the Israeli attack on the Gaza and the Russian invasion on Ukraine. This has been the main cause of concern here. It is talking about the NATO has not been that much successful in even the preventing or do something to bring some decisive order. No, previously there was the Western order across the world, and that was able to maintain the peace, but now it is not possible. You should know about the basic about the NATO. This NATO now it is working on the principle of the collective defense means attack on the one will be considered on the attack on the all. And this is mentioned under Article 5 of the NATO. Okay, so please remember this Article 5. Where is the headquarter? Brussels. Where is the Brussels? Brussels, here it is the Belgium. The capital of the Belgium is the Brussels. Okay, so please remember that. How many countries are the part of this NATO? This all the African countries except this few of them. You should know that Turkey is in the NATO. Okay. And here the North American countries like the US and Canada. Also this Greenland, Iceland. Okay. So you should remember this. It was founded into 1949 just after the World War, and now it has 30 countries. Okay. So these are the things you should remember, and most important article is Article 5 of the its treaty, and it's talking about the collective defense means attack on the any one of them will be considered on as the attack on everyone. The writer is talking about that whatever happening across the world, that is not a good sign for the world leader or for the anyone. Okay, and particularly he is talking into the context of Ukraine, Israel and Russia. Okay, so here he is talking about the growing chaos across the world and absence of a leader who can bring the peace or the calm. He is talking about everyone, be it Xi Jinping or the Putin or the Joe Biden. None of them have potential to dictate the terms. They don't have the power. The world is fragmented now, and the Western peace process and the Western rule-based international order now that is not working, that has been failed. Okay, here he is talking about the even the uh, leader like the Xi Jinping or the Joe Biden. They are focusing on their own region to bring stability, but they are not have that much impact to bring the peace and calm across the world. Here, it is talking about that the Zelensky, Putin, and even West, they are not ready to compromise. We have seen that even the Zelensky rejected any the peace talk, and Putin, he is also talking about the talk should be on their own terms, not on the terms of the West or the Zelensky. Okay. And now this has been going to for the 2 years between the war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia, but there has no peace. And if this further go, there is chances of the use of the nuclear weapon, and this is not good for the world. The world will be into a huge crisis if there is the use of the nuclear weapon, and there has been the mention of the nuclear weapon even by the Putin itself. Okay, that if the West will interfere, if West will directly involve into the war, it will not hesitate to use the nuclear power, nuclear weapon. Okay. Now we have seen that recently there has been the access, and this access is the new set. This is not the old, that was old world order, new set of the alliance. And here we see that the China, Russia and Iran, they are making the alliance, they are making the access, and that is dangerous. Even in the future, it could impact on the oil price across the world, and India will be impacted by this. Okay. Now, the US and China are not that much proxy, as it has been seen that the US was struggled to control the situation in the Afghanistan and even into the Iraq. Okay. China is not able to involve constructively into the peace deal because China itself involved into the economic crisis that is being faced by the China. Chinese economy is on the downslide, and that's why China is focusing to stabilize its own economy. Okay. Now the disruption. The disruption is due to this alliance, this new alliance, and it will have the impact on the oil across the world. Okay. Now the economic section is not working the way it should have worked into the past. This is not working. Why? Because the world is fragmented. I can explain it with a village, and where the sanction, any type of the sanction, how it is implemented and how it becomes successful. Look a situation. If there is a village and 100 families there, this village has the 100 family, and all 100 are united. And if one is doing something bad, so 99 if put the sanction that they will not interact with this, they will not buy anything but this person's shops. So he will feel that yes, there is the impact, and he will try to compromise, he will try to make a deal so that the order can be there. But the word situation is that this family is fragmented into the 33, 46 and remaining 21. Okay. So if it is putting the sanction on some of these three member, so all these 33 they are supporting this three, and only opposition being by that. And it's if there is 33 people who are going and buying the normal relation, buying the products from this shop, that shop will not think to make the compromise because it is sustainable. And word is fragmented. For example, economic section on the Russia doesn't work because the China was cooperating, North Korea was cooperating, even India imported the crude oil. This was the situation. This is the same situation with the Iran. With the Iran, many of the CIS countries, they cooperated. Even India cooperated in the after the so much pressure, India withdrew from the purchasing the oil from the Iran, reduce its quantity of the, but still India was interacting. Chabahar port was being constructed by the India. Besides that, we have seen that the artificial intelligence has changed the role and the way the war was being fought. Okay. Now, artificial intelligence and the new technology such as the drone and the surveillance system, all they have changed the way the war was being fought into the traditional way. And this is the region that the Ukraine is able to sustain even many times in the between. 2 years of the war, few of the month, Ukraine was dominating on the huge military of the Russia. Why? Because the new technology, these technologies are known as the disruptive technology. Okay, so these are the things that has been happening. But the thing is that the debate is now there on the effect of the US and the West, the way they are responding. And yes, there could be the low-level weapons by the Russia that could be used against the Ukraine if such thing happens, if the situation do not going to be on a place where the calm and the peace can be maintained. So there is no one can deny that yes, Russia can use the low level of the nuclear weapon. And this will be the crisis situation. If that happens, there will be the polarity, and maybe the war, the battle can be on the global stage. This is all about from the this news analysis. Next important news that we are going to take is the editorial column, and it is talking about the war of attrition. So war of attrition, this is between the Indian security forces and our Naxalite. And yes, what is the Naxalite? What is the Naxalism? The basic about the Naxalism is that it is a fight between the Naxalite and the Naxalite. It originated on the name of the Naxalbari village. So Naxalite, this is a ideology that follow that the armed revolution against the Indian state, and they want to establish the rule of the communism, where the downtrodden, they are saying their voice can be counted as per their ideology. Means it is a hardcore Marxist ideology that they follow. And yes, Marxist ideology, they can vary to the Leninist and the Mao, the first, the first premier and president of China, Mao Zedong. Okay. So the thing is that this started from the Naxalbari village, and the ideology is the communist ideology, and there could be a different variation. Maybe it could be the Marx, Lenin, and Mao. But you should know that it is the Naxalbari village. And who were the main leader? It is the Charu Majumdar and Kanu Sanyal. So please remember two names from the Naxalite movement, the Charu Majumdar Charu Majumdar, and it was mainly started during the 1967. Here from onwards, they started the armed struggle on the name of the Naxalism. So please remember this is very important, and you should also know that yes, they both are from the upper caste. Even the Majumdar was himself belonging from the Jamidar family, but they were up against to the concentration of the land, power, money with the few of the caste. And even they revolted against their own caste and their own family itself. They were advocating for the land distribution, and in 1960 the people were not satisfied with the land distribution. That was the policy of the government. They were not satisfied with the implementation part. So this is the basic about the Naxalite movement. Okay. Mainly the Naxalite movement now it is confined to the only few area, few region into the jungles of the central India, particularly in the area of the Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Maharashtra. Okay, these are the area where this is concentrated, and mainly into the sparse tribal presence where and there is the few of the tribal community, they are not satisfied with the Indian state. They are of the view that the Indian state is the exploitative. Here, this is into the context of the recent killing of the 29 of the Maoists, and many of them were the top cadre, top leader into the Maoist movement. Okay. Here we have seen that gradual decrease into the influence of the Maoist ideology. Now it is due to the expansion of the welfare measured by the state, Indian state. Okay. However, there is the issue that the still Maoists are present and they are able to attack the security forces, and we have seen that the many of the attack recently we saw the attack into the 2021. Okay. The thing is that why they are successful, why they are still existing despite so much hard work and hard effort from the security and the Indian state to expand the welfare measure. So it is known as the hard combination of the hard power and the soft power. Hard power, we are using the military forces. Soft power, we are providing the welfare measures such as the free food, and we are constructing the roads into those distant area, constructing the hospital and schools. All that measure is known as the soft power that we are expanding. Hard power, wherever we needed, we are attacking, we are trying to eliminate the Maoist cadre as well. So the combination of the hard power and the soft power, that is mainly thing that we are adopting. But they are still relevant, they are still existing. Why? Because they are operating into the different terrain, and still there are the few of the section of the tribal, they are not satisfied by the Indian state. This is the main reason, discontented tribal section, those who are supporting. Okay. Despite all this thing, even the civil society and the peace activists, they have tried to make the deal, bring the agreement and pursue the Maoist, please leave this violent method and come to the peace process. And even the Maoists now should think that the tribal don't want any other thing. They don't want to the overthrow of the state or anything. They just want a better outcome. They want to better engage with the state so that their grievances can be redressed. And even as per the editorial, these Maoists, they should join the electoral system, because by the electoral system even they can come into the power, they can change into the peaceful manner. They can change the situation of tribal into the peaceful manner. That is the main thing the editorial want to tell. Here it is talking about it is not good for the Maoists to still engage those tribal section into their propaganda and ideology, and even they should try to bring what actually the tribal want. The tribal want better engagement and outcome from the welfare and electoral system. So this should be the main basis of the tribal section as well, and even the Maoist. So this is all about from this news article that we are going to take is again from the editorial. It is talking about the pale green suits. So here it is talking about the way the world trade is facing the ups and down. It is talking about that recently we have seen in the case of the India's merchandise export that has reached its peak, and it is the highest into the this year. Okay, and this is just very close to the that we have done into the February month. Continuously there has been the increase, okay, from the February to the March, and we have seen that import is also decreasing. Import decreased by the 6%. Okay. However, we have seen that these positive sign has so many other future prospect that can negatively impact. That we will discuss later. But here we have seen that the very is a very surprising thing that we have reduced the export and increased the export and reduce the import, and that's why there has been the surplus into the current account. Okay. So if whenever the import decreases and export increases, means you are into the surplus. It means that if there is a shop and in the shop it is more selling as compared to the buying. So surplus is increasing. This is the case. Generally, India is facing the deficit type of the trade, but now we have seen that the positive surplus trade. Okay. However, we have seen that this is highest and this is just a slightly lower than the 2020-23 trade, and it's just 3% lower than the 2023 figure. But here we have seen that despite all this thing, these are surprising because we have seen that despite the Ukraine and Palestinian war that is going on, there has been the goods export that is experiencing positive growth cycle. So this is right, but the thing again, the editorial is telling that we have many of the persistent threat and issue that we can face, and that's why WTO has decreased its projection from the 3.3% to the 2.2% for the global trade volume growth. Okay, what are the issues that the world can face? The world is facing, there is the disruption into the key sea routing such as the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal. Okay, so Suez Canal, it is in the Egypt. Panama Canal, it is into the Central America that connect the North America and the South America. Okay, and other threat is the war that is going on into the West Asia, and there is the disruption at the Strait of Hormuz. So please remember this Strait of Hormuz, and here this is the area from that account for the most of the Asia's oil and gas import and export. For the India, it is import. And also we have seen that due to this attack from the Houthis, there has been the increase into the surging shipping cost because the route is now has increased. They have to cross all the Africa, then reach to the Europe. That has been the case. And that's why the projection is not, despite there has been the positive growth, but this could be in the future if the war that is going on that is not going to reach at a peace or something like that, there could be the disruption and there could be the chances that all this positive move can be disrupted and we can go into the negative cycle. Okay. Recently we have seen that the crude price has been increased and also the export has been decreased. Okay, so export from the nations, okay, that has been decreased to the 8-month low. And we know that India is the energy deficit country. 80% of our energy need is dependent on the import, and that's why India is very much vulnerable to the war that is going into the West Asia. This is all about that this editorial is talking about. Next important news that we are going to cover is the India's nuanced approach in the South China Sea. Here we will see that how India's stand is changing from the look east policy to act east policy. So here India's engagement is not only covered till the area of the economics, but it is going to the deeper into the strategic area. That is the writer want to convince. Okay, so here the writer is the Harsh V. Pant. He is very famous into the area of the international relation, and you can use his name whenever you are writing your optional paper into the political science and international relations. So use his name, and he is very well-known writer. To know this article, you should know the basic about the UN clause. UN clause, this is the treaty, and this is the first treaty, and this is the most dominant treaty that's talk about the legal framework on all of the maritime and maritime activities. Okay, so it was entered into the signature into the 1982 and entered into the force from the 1994. Okay, so it's defined a different territorial area. Here it has been defined. Already we have discussed into the previous session that territorial sea, that is till the 12 nautical miles, after that contiguous sea, and then there is a different jurisdiction of the state changes. Here there will be the full sovereignty. Gradually it is reduced, it is limited to the enforcement of the custom, immigration and the other laws. Okay, so till the territorial zone, full sovereignty. After that there is the decrease, and till the exclusive economic zone, it's remain to the only for the exploitation of the resource and exploration of the natural resource and their management. So please be very careful about these three regions. After that it is the continental shelf that can go beyond the economic, this exclusive economic zone. So please remember all these things. These basics are very important. The tribunal, if there is a dispute with respect to the any of such right and claim on the sea, open sea, or the different zones, we have International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. This is known as the IT laws. Okay, so please remember all these things. Here the writer start with the our India's External Affairs Minister recent comment and its joint statement with the Philippines. We know that recently UN clause give the verdict into the favor of the Philippines, and it was against the China Beijing. And in that case, India was standing with the Manila and Philippines. So it was the very much a clear-cut position India took against the China. Okay. Here, the joint statement even they criticized the China and asked China to please adhere to the international law and be rule-based maritime order. Okay. So this is the India's shift from the previous cautious and neutral instance to very much taking position, and even it is very much out into the ground. It was not sitting on the fence and making decision. This is in the field, into the ground and taking the decision. We will see that the policy evolution of the India's, initially what we were following, we are following the East Asia policy. Okay, so East Asia policy is talking about the Look East policy, and it was talking about the economic activities. We are not engaging into the any of the security or the strategic agreement or the area, but now we see that from the economic integration to the Southeast Asian countries, now we are going for the partnership into the different area, and India's ONGC Videsh that is participating into the exploration and exploitation of the resources into the coast of the Vietnam. This is the first sign of the India's active involvement. Okay, and India has taken and supported the freedom of exploration and exploitation of the maritime resources, and it should be as per the international law, that is the UN clause. Okay. Here we have seen that the more strategic and active engagement. Now we are taking the stand. We are standing with the Vietnam that yes, despite there was the negativity, there was the anger from the Chinese side. They were not comfortable with the India entering into the exploitation of the resources into the Vietnam. Already there was the claim and the counter claim. Okay, so here we see that even the security cooperation we are entering, and why it is possible, because we are now into the very strong position. Already we have the forward positioning, and we have the mission-based deployment, and recently we saw that even the India's ship and warship moving and going, taking position into the South China Sea. on the area that is claimed by the different Southeast Asian countries. Okay, we have seen then the reinforced maritime domain awareness and the development of deep water maritime facility that is stronger, and research and development in all these area where the India is acting, and India is making the more and more rigorous progress. Okay. So here the overall relation, if you will see into the South China Sea or the India's Act East policy, it is associated with the complex ties with the China. It is not free from the Chinese influence. China is always there, and the Chinese angle is there. Why India has started this? Because we have seen that the Chinese assertiveness as well as the militarization effort into the South China area, South China Sea area, as well as we have seen into the Indian border area, disputed area into the Arunachal Pradesh, into the Ladakh, all these area where we have seen that the China was very aggressive and assertive. And that case we have brought our own position. For example, here it is given that the Galwan Valley incident 2020, and it lead that India to demonstrate that we are able and we are capable to confront the China, and that's why we sent our warship to the South China Sea. This was the India's stand that was very clear cut that yes, we are going to respond. Okay. So India has responded by the engaging with the strategic partnership with those countries that are into the South China Sea. We will see that there are the 10 Asian countries where there is the involvement with the India. Okay, even the India, there is some of the dispute and some of the internal issues within these 10 Asian countries. Despite that, India has tried to balance all these things. Okay. Besides that, India shows that yes, India is committed to the regional security. Despite we have seen that the withdrawal of the US support system into the Pacific, India has come forward that so that yes, we are committed to the regional security, and we are here to counter the Chinese unlawful assertion. Chinese unlawful assertion. This is not that there is no one that is not going to prevent the China if it is going to do as per the violation of international law. So India was very clear cut. China's unlawful assertion, we are not going to agree on all these things. Asian, when it was founded, so you should know basic, it was founded into the 1967, and there are the 10 countries. It started with the 5 countries and gradually it reached to the 10 countries. Core objective, here it is given that the different objective, mainly it is the integration of the region into the different area. It is started with the trade and commerce, and gradually it is progressed into the other areas such as the currency swap as well as the common currency, common market, common entry point, common citizenship. Even they are going for not the citizenship, but at least there is the free movement of the human as well as the goods and services. That is the main area that they are working. Okay, recently we have seen that they have the more focus on the Indo-Pacific, and also they are talking about the regional comprehensive economic partnership where India exit because India was not comfortable with the Chinese and the Chinese demand. So this is, here you should know about the basics. So if the question comes that why India is opposing, the main thing is that India want to ensure that if there is any of the impact on the freedom of navigation and oversight, that will not be compromised, and India will not going to compromise because India's trade and energy transportation route is also through this South China Sea and adjacent area. Besides that, we have seen that the India want to play a very central role into this Indo-Pacific, and here India want to bring the Asian centrality. It do not want to replace it by the Chinese centrality, because both are claiming now the position of China and the Asian both are into the central point of the Indo-Pacific, but India want to promote the Asian centrality, not this Chinese centrality. This is the main issue. Besides that, we have seen that India want to don't give a message to the world that the China can do anything by the unilateral action and it can threaten the regional stability. So indirectly, India is opposing the China's expansion into the territorial claim into the all these region that is also associated with our own land border dispute. Okay. So here what we see that while India is safeguarding its interest, it is also contributing to peace, stability and the respect for the international law, and it is projecting India as a good soft power. It's showing the India's soft power that India is there to prevent any of the activities of the aggression or the assaultion. This is all about from this news. Try to write an answer for this question that is associated from this topic. So please try to write at least approach. The question is analyze India's evolving stance on the South China Sea issue from a cautious approach to a more assertive position, particularly under the Act East policy. And how does India's strategic engagement with the Southeast Asia reflect the broader geopolitical interest and security concern into the Indo-Pacific region? So what should be your initial point? How should you introduce? You should introduce with the historical cautious approach to the now our active approach, the way we are going to directly involve with the different countries. You can give example of our involvement with the Philippines or the Vietnam, all you can bring. Okay. Beside that, you should bring the evolving instance of the South China Sea, the way there is assertion from the China. And you can bring these points such as the economic focus to the strategic engagement, growing assertiveness of the China, and you should also focus on the way the China is not respecting the UN clause. Recently, we can give the example of the China didn't accept the verdict that goes into the favor of Philippines. You can bring, after that you can conclude by the reiterating how this reflects India's desire to protect its own security, and that is also aligning with the peace, stability and the regional balance into the area. Okay, so here you should bring the positive soft power, the positive area of the India's engagement, and by that your answer will be very effective. Please try to bring all these things. We have provided the points that you can write. We have provided a model answer. So this is all about from the today's news. We have covered most of the relevant area. Here we will conclude our session. Thank you for joining the session. All the best. Jai Hind.